Hello and welcome to Front Porch Radio. I'm Julie Wilder. Pull up a chair and settle in. Maybe make some tea or afternoon cocktails fine too. Because we're going to be talking about something we all need more of, real connection. My guest, Dana Marie Roquemore, knows a thing or two about bringing people together. She started her career styling fashion shows and planning events, but in 2014 she launched the Dinner Party Project, a simple yet powerful idea: 8 strangers, 1 table, incredible food, and meaningful conversation. Now, 10 years later, Dana's vision has grown into private and corporate gatherings, large-scale dinner events, and of course, Women Lead Orlando, which is heading into its 7th year of inspiring and connecting women. But beyond the meals and the events, Dana is on a mission to tackle something even deeper: our growing sense of isolation. People are spending more time alone now than ever, and that's taking a toll on mental health. We need face-to-face connection. Serotonin, joy, community, these aren't just nice extras, they're essential. Dana believes that if you're looking for friendship, the first step is to be a good friend. That means taking the initiative, making plans, and inviting people in, because everyone loves to be invited. So today we're talking about the power of gathering, the courage it takes to put yourself out there, excuse me, and the beautiful things that happen when you do. Stick around. This conversation won't be one you'll want to miss. Welcome to Front Porch Radio, Dana.
Hi.
Hi.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. You were definitely one of the people that was tops on my list as I was bringing Front Porch Radio back. You've been on the program years and years ago.
Long time.
Absolutely. And I've been to a number of your fantastic events. Been a fan since the OPP days.
I know. It's been a minute.
Other people's property, for those of you that don't know the code I'm talking in. Sorry, I got a bug in my throat. So, yeah, I mean, one of the things that you and I have in common is the desire and the joy of gathering people around the table. I did it in a restaurant form for many years, and I have always been jealous of the Dinner Party Project's simplistic approach, because it is, I feel, I don't know, maybe you'd argue with me, it's it feels less complex than a restaurant, but probably a lot goes on behind the scenes.
There's a lot more overhead for sure for a restaurant. So that would be, that is definitely a lot to carry. Dinner party is it is a different way of gathering, but then you're also like carrying every fork, every spoon, every cocktail ingredient. You're carrying it to every single event. So it's just a different energy. That's, your energy into a physical space. And then we are bringing our energy and our service into other people's spaces.
Yeah. And it's a really beautiful thing that you do, because I know, I mean, when you started this, we were in the height of gathering, right? Many years ago, it seemed like we were kind of having this renaissance, at least in Orlando, of people wanting to get together. And then we had the pandemic.
Sure.
And how has that shifted things? What have you seen, I guess, about people needing to connect over 10 years, by the way. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, what have you seen shifting and morphing in the last decade about the way people gather, just the sense of isolation people might be feeling?
Sure. I mean, I do believe the pandemic was interesting because it really also taught us that we could work from home for a lot of people, not me, but for a lot of people, it really was. It shifted some of their jobs to working at home. And I think some people have also stayed in that mindset of their home a lot. And then it's like more effort to go out versus if you're going out 5 days a week, maybe it's a little bit more normal to then go out on an evening or on a weekend. And
yeah, you're already out.
You're already out. Right.
Yeah.
You're in that rhythm. And so maybe some of the new rhythm is like you work from home and then you just maybe want to stay home a little bit more. Or with social media, I think one of the things that's a little bit scary is that people maybe feel connected online, but that's not real connection often. And so real friendship takes being together. I mean, you can't have I have friends that are long distance relationships that I take a lot of time to follow up with and really connect. And then when we can be in the same place at the same time. But the kind of maybe the fake intimacy of knowing people, behind a keyboard versus knowing people in real life, and the messiness that happens with real life and real friendships and real being a part of the world. So that is part of friendships, but I think that friendships and just putting yourself out there is needed more than ever, and is what we need to sustain our lifestyles, is like real connection,
Yeah.
which is oftentimes in real life.
Yeah. Oftentimes in real life, and pairing it with food is always, just the best idea.
Of course.
Who doesn't like to break
Yes.
bread, right?
Mhm.
And let's backtrack just a little bit, because I know that we mentioned the OPP, the other people's property. It was like these like really well organized and facilitated clothing swaps, not just clothing,
Yeah.
but accessories, all
I
different
think
kinds
they
of
might
things.
still do them here, because I handed them over to Rollins, to Anne from the Eco Rollins.
Okay.
So this was years ago, because I haven't been doing OPP since 2017.
Wow.
So when I finished, I started OPP, and then I started swaps in 2009. And then I partnered with Rollins eventually. And then when I was wrapping up, I wrapped up in 2017. So then I had come here to do some swaps here. So I don't know if they're still doing them or not.
That's amazing. We'll have to find out.
I would love to come back to a swap, because I love swaps.
Yeah.
So I still.
Who doesn't love a good swap?
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Potlucks and clothing swaps are like my jam.
Yeah.
And so yeah, tell me about, how did you fall into this design? It's for the dinner party projects. And like, what was your motivation for getting behind something as brilliant and simple and like honestly culture shifting as intentional dinner parties?
Sure. I mean, I'm not the inventor of supper clubs. I mean, obviously, supper clubs have been around for a long time, and even salons, like in Paris and the, 100 years ago. But like the idea of setting the table for communal thought sharing and communal living and communal connection. So when I started, this was in 2014, and long story short was I had been working in events. I've been working now in events for 20 years, and so I had just been doing OPP and other things, and I was just burnt out. And so I took a sabbatical, and I went to Australia, New Zealand for 3 months, which was wonderful.
It's my favorite place.
And I did what any normal, responsible adult would do, and I blew all my savings, and I had gave away my responsibilities and left my part-time job. And yeah, so I just had this moment of, my true love is travel. So I did that, and then I came back from that trip to Orlando, and I was in a really funky place. And so I didn't know where next my life was going to kind of go, as far as job-wise and life-wise and all the things. And so a friend of mine around that time asked me, what brings you joy and what brings you life, and what are you not doing that you should be doing? And so at that time I thought, well, if I could do anything, I would throw dinner parties for a living. Then it was not really a business idea. It was just a life idea and something that would be fun for me and like a project to move towards. And so that's what I started back in 2014. So I just thought, I'm just going to put this out to friends and family, and I hope that they'll extend this invitation to other strangers, because the point was to have people gather that don't know each other. And so that was really the goal. And I had a dinner table that my grandparents had given me that I could seat 8 people around. So it was myself plus 7 strangers. And I wanted lots of food, 4 courses, and lots of drinks, 4 beverages, and questions around the table. And I just wanted to set a space for I was like, I don't know if anybody's going to show up. I'm putting this out there. You're going to have dinner at a stranger's house or a venue that you don't know. And we'll see if people are interested. So,
and they were.
That's how it started. Yeah.
What was that very first dinner party like that you did? What was the response? Because it was so new.
Yeah,
for everyone.
It was the first one. To me, it was so much fun. It really was. So I kind of knew most of the people. I think there was 1 or 2 people out of the 8 that I didn't know, but so mostly it was people that I had somewhat known, and so kind of had a heads up I had to navigate some of the conversations, but really it was and back at that point, at the very first moment, it lasted less than a year because it was too much of a headache to navigate. But I would literally, you would like respond and say, "Hey, I want to be a part of the dinner party project." So I put your name in a bucket basically and did a random number generator and pulled out 7 names. And so like I pulled out the 7 names, emailed them, say you got selected, and then they joined. And yeah. So I mean they kind of felt a sense of like, oh, I got chosen, like I got picked and I'm gonna sit around this table, and so much fun. I just was figuring it out the first time, setting the table for I had hosted a lot, and that's what made me love it was the magic that happens around the dinner table, and just when you're gathering people and creating this space for life to happen. I feel like it's like the height of luxury of a life is to have a dinner party.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're sitting down, you don't have anywhere to be. Someone's probably cooking or you do a potluck, which is equally as fun. And yeah, you get to sit down and either if it's your really good friends, talk about your day, your week, what's happening, or if it's new people, it's like meeting new people, bring a friend. But in every culture, we gather around breaking bread together and sharing drinks together. So, in every faith tradition, there's things that you're doing around food and drink. And in every culture, like 4th of July, we're all doing the thing that we have to do every day. But when it's set with intentionality, and then you get to sit at a table and someone serves you food, so you don't have to think about that, but you're enjoying something delicious and participating as a participant. I don't know, pretty fun.
Yeah, it's so much fun, and we all need a little bit more fun in our lives, of course. And it's interesting because like, I feel like America itself got to like peak fast food, right? Like everybody's eating on the go, in the car, in between things. I remember I used to like eat, like when I was doing my bank deposits, I would like grab some food real quick and like, be in the teller line eating my food, and thinking there's just this is a terrible,
It's got to be better. Yeah.
Right? This is absolutely the worst.
Sure.
And so to kind of bring people back down to earth and the slow pleasures of the table, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
It seems so simple, yet it's like radically different in the environment that we've kind of America's become, I guess you say. I don't know what it's like in other countries. I know what it's like in New Zealand, and I can see where you would get the inspiration from there because I went there for, I think, a couple of weeks, like a long time ago, and I was like, this is how everyone should live.
Yeah.
Just chill. Everyone is just
so
laid
chill.
back.
So caring for their neighbors.
Yeah.
So invested in their local politics. I mean, New Zealand's got it down.
Yeah.
And then they with Christchurch a couple years ago with the shooting, they were just like, no more guns. We're done.
Yeah, they're like,
it's easier to do that there in such a small population than to do it here. But I mean, yeah, just they've got a really beautiful society.
Yeah. And I think that's, I wonder how much your travels have influenced your ideas about lifestyle.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, I think God, this is terrible because I don't even know who said it, but it was not me, but they were like something about life is a book, and if you don't travel, you only read a page or something. And so that is how I feel, is the way that I have broadened my life and my perspective and my inclusion of people is seeing so many different people and cultures, and that just this one American life is not the only life that's out there and the only way that people live and the only way that people interact, and being able to see that through traveling and being in places. And America, and especially I really do feel like Orlando is very diverse, which is one reason that I really love it. So we forget kind of being in Orlando, when you go maybe to another place or city, it's oftentimes very homogenous. And so there's not a lot of thought differences that people can, live differently. We don't all have to live in kind of like one niche way of living and not, one way is not wrong, one way is not right. So seeing so many different cultures and how people can peacefully coexist and honor each other, that's what the dinner table is for, is honoring one another. And I've had some things that have been like, I did a series years ago called Making Conversations with Leanne Seiferman, who's a local artist. And so, I also want to set the stage, which takes a lot of intentionality around maybe things that we don't agree on.
Mm-hmm.
And so I know that I am reminding myself that I need to be more open to people that also don't look like me, think like me, vote like me. And that is a challenge. So it's not something that I have totally mastered. And sometimes I am still frustrated by people. But it is also really hard to hate somebody from across the table.
I totally agree with that.
Not to say that there aren't people in my life that I still don't like, that I still won't invite to my table. But for the most part, it's like the exercise is trying to be open to being around people that are different than you and think different than you.
Yeah.
So when I started this, I started it with kind of 3 people groups, if you will, in mind. One is people that I'm friends with, like good friends with. And so some of those friends don't know each other. And then I would go out a lot to like social events. And you would see the same people over and over. And so I was like, I want to know some of these people better. I see them, I know them casually, they're acquaintances, but maybe I would like to just invite them into like a deeper knowledge of who they are. And then the third group is like people that I don't know yet. So like totally brand new people was just, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's one of the, just listening to your story, we have so much in common and so much that motivates us to gather people together. But that was one of the reasons why I started doing Front Porch Radio, was because I kept seeing all these cool people back in the day when I owned Dandelion Community Cafe. Like all these really interesting people would come in from all spectrums, and I was like, man, I really would love to have like a more in-depth conversation with that person because I'm just curious, and I love to, I think this about me. I hate the word networking because I just feel like that's like cold and weird. And I'm like, let's make friends. Let's like try to actually have like an actual real relationship. But that's what I was able to do with Front Porch Radio, and having like an hour-long conversation with all of these different people for years and years and years. When I look back on that time period, because this is like the second revival of Front Porch Radio after like a 7-year break, but like that first 10 years, like when I look back at that 10-year period, I did all kinds of amazing things. But the things that I remember the most are the deep conversations that I had on Front Porch Radio every single week.
Sure.
And the forges that were bonds that were forged. Those are the things that last. And it was also the place where I was able to learn about, because I talked to people about, oh, well, I don't even know anything about that issue or your geek, your geek thing that you're into. And I learned so much about what's going on in the culture, what's going on in different subcultures by just being curious and asking people questions.
Sure.
And it made me a better person for sure.
100%.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are very scared about somehow putting themselves out there. And we've come into this place that, I don't know. So, but I was reading something the other day that was like, there was a study done that if you're like, let's say like approaching somebody on the bus or a subway or like in a supermarket, and for the most part, it was like an overwhelming response of like, if somebody actually approaches me in a supermarket, for the most part, unless they're like a weird guy hitting on me, like I am like, oh my gosh, somebody wants to talk to me and they want to share something, or they want to ask a question, or they're not afraid to just put themselves out there. And it is refreshing when people are putting themselves out there, or they do, like when you go to something like a networking thing, or like somebody approaches you and they're friendly and they have something interesting to say, or they want to connect with you. I think people, for the most part, like I would My dad was such a example of this. He just loved people so much, so much. So no matter if they were like the person behind the counter at McDonald's, or he was in the Oval Office several times. And so it didn't matter like who they were, like he just valued people so much, and he wanted to get to know them and to say, we all want people that are interested in us and ask us questions. Who are you? What are you about? What's your story? What's your history? For the most part, people want, like, everyone's favorite word is their own name. So
I have rarely met a person that turns down an interview. I'll say that because they're like, oh yeah,
you want to talk about?
You want to
You want to know about me?
Yeah, and I
In a
get to
safe
share.
space?
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. So do you think that you inherited that from your dad? Like, do you just talk to people in grocery stores?
Every once in a while, like sometimes it kind of depends on the moment, or it depends on the mood or whatever. But I mean, I understand some people are more reserved and shy, and some people are more outgoing and extroverted. And so I am both of those things, and kind of just depends on the day and the moment and the need of what I need. But I do love random chance encounters. I think that's like a whimsical life is what I want. And sometimes you never know until you like say that first word to somebody.
Yeah.
It could be like a new friend, or it could be lead to something. It could be nothing.
Yeah.
But maybe you
just
could
a
say,
nice moment.
Yeah. Or like,
nice
I like
exchange.
your dress, or I like this book you're reading.
Yeah. I mean, I think that I'm definitely one of those people that talks to everyone out in the world. Like, I'm like, oh, I really love your glasses, or, people love to be noticed. And I've always kind of had a saying, like, if you have something nice to say it.
Sure.
Like if you're thinking something nice, like, I mean, obviously not in a creepy way.
Right. But for the most part, people are going to respond positively.
Right. Yes.
To if you're saying something positive to them, and or if you're just asking them a question.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Unless you're like being a creep.
Yeah. So I guess I don't inherently understand the shy thing. I know it exists though. And I think that that's one of the reasons that I love the dinner party project, because you're not just throwing 8 people together and being like, good luck. It's actually a facilitated conversation. You have a host. Talk about that for a minute.
So the beauty of Orlando, especially when you said like 2014, when everyone was like out and about and doing all things. And I lived here since 2020, 2000. Wow. Yeah. I made that mistake the other day. I said 2020, and I'm like, I've lived here since 2000.
Wow.
So I lived here for going on 24 years, minus kind of 1 year. And we have so much great food and drink in Orlando. It has only grown and gotten better. And now we're on the radars and we're doing the things. And I'm so proud of so many chefs and restaurateurs and investors in the city that have brought gorgeous food and drink. And we've partnered with a lot of them, so we're so thankful. And then also part of it is the Dinner Party Project is a different dining experience where we're really focused on the conversation. So we have amazing, beautiful chefs, and I do all the cocktails, which I love. And then we have a guest host pretty much for every dinner, unless you're having a private dinner, because then you can do what you want. But we want the intentionality to be about the people that are gathered and everyone's story. And so one of the reasons when I started 2014 was, when you go out to someone's like birthday dinner and you're usually going to like a nicer place, and definitely it's fun. But sometimes I would be sitting there in a loud restaurant, and I am kind of stuck in this table, and I'm only talking to the person to the left or to the right of me. Is usually very loud. I can't even talk across the table. And it's usually never centered around the person that the birthday is about. You're going to give them a hug on the way in. Maybe you brought them a gift. You're going to give them a hug on the way out. Maybe you talk to them for 3 to 5 minutes. But it's not usually for me, I found the experience was not a time where it was about the communal, everyone together having one conversation. It's about side conversations. And so I just really like the idea of, 8 to 12 is the perfect size for intimacy around the table. So less than 8 is maybe can be a little bit awkward if it's too small. And over 12, you lose the group. There's not enough time for everybody to talk.
Right.
So in between 8, 10, and 12 is like the perfect amounts for gathering. And so I was like, 8 people would be great. And then one person is the host, and then 7 kind of strangers in that way. So in the dinners that we do are always around 8, 10, and 12, somewhere around there. And they always have a guest host because we do want to curate the conversation, and we don't want. And there's moments at dinner parties where people will have side conversations, and we let that live and sometimes breathe for the moment. But we also want to bring it around to, hey, you're here meeting, 7 or 9 or 11 new people. So the intentionality is for everyone's story to be heard. And so the host is really being like, making sure that every person around the table, it's their time to share their stories. And then we ask questions, fun and interesting questions. And so we want to make sure that like everybody around the table, one of our guest hosts the other day said, when was the last time you did something for the first time? And I was like, what a great question. What a great question. So we want people to like think.
I'm pondering.
I was pondering too.
When was the last time when was the last time you did something for the first time? Pickleball. Was it pickleball?
Pickleball was, I have been playing, pickleball for a little while now. But, trying something new. I was trying to learn Italian for a while, so that was something new.
Oh my God, I'm really upset that I can't think of anything because that feels sad that I feel like I should be doing something because like this I'm doing again. I did this before,
right?
It's
like how to ride a bike.
Doing something new. It's probably something that Max has gotten. I will say it sounds so silly, but like I never really put makeup on or did anything like that because I don't know why. But like my kid Max is super like makeup studio quality, like could be like they do like avatar like cool designs and stuff like that. So they've really gotten me into like things that as a girl I probably should have been into like a long time ago, but it's definitely new for me. So that's something. But I feel like that's like so lame. I should like go mountain climbing or something.
Maybe it could be something simple as like trying a new recipe.
Yeah. Okay.
Right?
Yeah. Okay.
Or you try a new genre of books.
Yeah.
Or music. Or I'm trying to get more into classical music. Chopin and
Vivaldi's my favorite when it comes to classical.
Did you watch us? Well,
go ahead. No, go
ahead. Off topic, but
this is what. Hey, well, let's just.
Did you watch Maria?
No.
On Netflix if you have Netflix? But Maria came out over the holiday season. It's about Maria Callas, who is the most famous Italian opera singer, and so it's like Angelina Jolie plays her.
Okay,
and it is beautiful.
Okay,
so lots of Vivaldi. It just I want to watch it again. It was just
I'll have to watch it. Yeah. And that's what you can find out. I'm so caught up because I'm like, I must be boring now. And that's the beauty of having intentional conversations, right? Is to be able to kind of, I don't know, get you out of your routine and shake it up a little bit, but in a pleasant way with lots of good food and cocktails.
It really an easy way to put yourself out there.
So let me ask you this. What kinds of, I'm sure there's been a lot of kismet, a lot of serendipity, a lot of like maybe a couple of soulmates meeting at some of these dinner parties. What are some of the like success stories that you've heard of people who've attended an actual dinner party?
Yeah, absolutely. The Dinner Party Project Dinner for 8 has no agenda, really. And that is so fun. And so you're just there to put yourself out there, meet new people, and the questions aren't geared towards anything. And so, you never kind of know. I mean, I have known that people have dated. I don't know that anyone's gotten married at this point, but that's fine. But people definitely
if you met at a dinner party project, and you got married, you should tell Dana.
Please do.
Reach out.
Definitely.
We need a like video confessional because I know that's. I mean, not to sidetrack, but dating is, a whole thing these days, and it can be hard and difficult to meet people sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely.
In that realm. So I don't know.
Maybe. People are just putting themselves out there. There's no pressure in that sense. Like it's not a dating thing,
right?
But if it happens, it happens. I mean, there's all these amazing people that are showing up, which is really cool. So that's, definitely happened. People have connected. I mean, I've heard some people have gone on vacations together and that are like still friends. We do the single moms dinner that we've done for a long time.
And there's like a little WhatsApp group that was created. I
Uh-huh.
got to go to that. It was amazing. Met a bunch of other really amazing single moms. And yeah, just to be able to kind of find an affinity group, because some, that's a little bit of a different than your dinner party at 8 standard. But yeah, to be able to find an affinity group of people who kind of understand and can get your jokes, right?
Uh-huh.
Your single mom
And
jokes.
yes, yeah, absolutely. The moment of life that you're in. So yeah, I mean, there's been lots of great connections. I have a lot of great friends now that are like I still keep in touch with, and some of them are part of my life. I saw friends last night that I met through a dinner party, that's 2nd-year anniversary. So
Yeah.
still friends, still in my life.
So I was very, I guess it's like 4:30, so I should remind everyone you're listening to Front Porch Radio. I'm Julie Wilder. My guest today is Dana Roquemore. She is just been an amazing, I don't even know how to, just like one of these, like, is it an insult to call you an it girl? Like, you're just like, like, she's just, everywhere and cool and doing really neat things, and connecting people. Like one of those people that's a really good connector, which I think is a huge artistic talent. And yeah, she's done all kinds of cool stuff. So we've been talking for about 30 minutes. If you missed any of this, we will have it on Substack later so you can listen to the podcast. But yeah, what before I interrupted myself, what were we saying? I'm a terrible conversationalist, apparently.
Well, I should have been remembering as well.
It's okay. It's okay. We could find something new. So dinner at 8, we were talking about the single lady. Oh, the anniversary. That's what I wanted to go back to. I was so proud to be in attendance at that.
Nice.
You had a beautiful dinner. And what has it been like for you, to bring a project? 10 years is, people don't realize it, but in business years, that's like 100 years.
Yeah, it feels like 100 years.
It's like dog years,
I
right?
know.
Like it's like it goes fast and slower than ever, and then you wake up one day and your business
you're
is
at
10 years old.
Yes.
So why don't you talk about like what's that been for you as far as an entrepreneur? An entrepreneur who loves the slow life, right?
I do love the slow life, but I also like the travel life, and I like I also like to be busy. So I like all of the paces of life, but I really do want an intentional life.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, the entrepreneur life is interesting. I mean, it's up, it's down, it's rewarding. It's everyone chooses into what their profession is, so you choose whether you want to be, a corporate person, and some people that is their fit and their satisfaction and their reward. And then, some people are artists and maybe a little bit off the beaten path, and entrepreneurs and more business minded, more business savvy. And my journey has been all around. I mean, the up and the down. I still have so much joy and brings me a lot of reward that I'm doing something that I believe is meaningful to people. And in a time where we're more isolated than ever, really fighting and trying to like fight for people to put themselves out there, to come out to a dinner party, to pay for it when, everything's getting tighter. So I have really a lot of pride in, I think, the end goal of what I do. I love it every time we have dinner for 8 tomorrow night. And every time it's just I never walk away feeling like that wasn't worth my time.
Yeah.
So that part is incredibly fulfilling and enjoyable for me. So I love being at dinner parties. Running a business is a whole nother ball of wax that is not enjoyable to me. So, I mean, everyone's like, oh, that must be the funnest job. And being at dinner parties is the funnest job.
Right.
Doing taxes and managing people and social media and
running
budgets,
payroll and
budgets and keeping up to date with everything and people coming and going and
and mathing, making sure the math works. Yeah. I
Yeah,
I
it's a
always
lot.
felt a little bit bad because I'm like, hey, I didn't mean that you guys should all also become entrepreneurs because it's not an easy life, you
Mm-hmm.
know. There's a lot of ups and downs, and especially with the 10 years. I mean,
Especially if you're like starting at ground zero with like no investment and then no business. Like when I started this, it was like, oh, this is a fun project. And then people started showing up and then more people started showing up. And I was like, oh man, this is amazing. And then when you have to like incorporate and start a business, like maybe if you have a hobby or a passion, maybe the right place is to keep it as a hobby and a passion because
mhm,
then it gives you life and it fulfills this creative outlet for you.
yeah,
Some people are natural entrepreneurs, like, right? They start up, I see these people like John Rife and Jason Chen of Good Salt Group. I mean, these people are so attuned and their brains work on that frequency. And so mine doesn't. And so it's more of a energy drain to have to. But I mean, as the owner of something and as a founder of something, that's my responsibility. So that's on me as the owner to keep things afloat and keep things going. Um so
you do it with
yeah.
style. Nobody could tell from the
Oh,
outside.
thanks. Yeah, well, obviously at an event, I am in my element,
Yeah,
so I am very happy in those moments. But sometimes on a morning, do I want to open up and do a million emails? Not usually,
no,
but
nobody does. Whether you're in the corporate world or
right.
your own company, it's
But that's event planning. Event planning
yeah,
is you have to have all the things dialed in because if you forget this or if you forget somebody has a dietary restriction and you don't tell a chef, it's a pretty big deal.
yeah,
Right? So
very big
it's like,
deal.
right. You have to make sure all the I's are dotted and T's are crossed.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah,
To set the stage for a beautiful time together.
yeah.
Yeah.
Which is one of the things that, because of course, anybody can just throw a dinner party and have a potluck or whatever, say,
Mm-hmm.
come on over, But I think that that's one of the things that also sets you apart because, I mean, you have a really elegantly styled, you work with, I, I guess tell people a little bit more about the model. I guess I take it for granted because I've been to several, but you work with different area chefs and kind of describe what your process is because it's incredibly collaborative.
Thanks. Yeah. Well, we do several different things. So one thing is the dinner for 8,
Mm-hmm.
and then we also do something called Trusted Circles,
Mm-hmm.
which is 10 women that meet together every quarter. So they have one dinner party every 3 months. So it's 4 dinners over 1 year. It's incredible. We also do our private events, and so that's where we customize for a client, whether it's like a birthday or a corporate event or a holiday party or a celebration, any type of celebration we do. Anyway, so and then we also do our Women Lead Orlando, which I know that we'll get to talking about. But with all of those, we've got chefs that are on our roster. So it's like people that are doing private chefs, so they're coming from a restaurant or um, self-taught chefs as well that create beautiful food. And then all of those dinners, we're just creating the menus. We're either whether it's our dinners or for a client, we're just making sure that the everything is clear and communicated. So just making sure that all the communication is where it needs to be. And yeah, sometimes we've partnered with different restaurants that have sponsored different things. For Women Lead Orlando, we have amazing community partners.
Yeah, let's talk about Women Lead Orlando because that's
Yeah.
kind of one of your premier. I mean, aside from your smaller, dinners that you do, this is a big annual gathering.
Yes.
And I've been to probably 3 or 4 of them, and it's always a good time. The quality of the food is always amazing, and you always meet some really interesting women. So let's talk about because it's coming up in like a month.
It is, yeah. March 25th is our 7th. So we're in our 7th year of Women Lead Orlando.
So lucky number 7.
Lucky number 7. I know. It kind of feels like, yeah, the moment of 7 years in. So it is 125 female leaders, and it's intergenerational. So it's all the way from like college, upper college students all the way up to women that are more seasoned in their careers. And then it's inter-industry, so it's all over the place. And that's the part I love, is like kind of getting out of your little bubble of your work environment and plopping yourself down with some other ladies that are doing incredible stuff, and just being reminded of like what everyone is doing in the city, whether they're in banking or they own a bookstore or they're up and coming women, like, they're coming into their careers and they want to be seated next to like a Kay Rollins with the Orlando City Foundation. We've got awesome ladies that are doing great stuff. So it's just a chance to sit down and get kind of a slice of the Central Florida area of what people are doing and up to.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't know if you weren't doing that. I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm just really out of the loop, but it seems to me like, aside from like maybe an industry specific event, it's just a really unique opportunity to just be, because being around that many women who are at varying like stages of their careers,
Mm-hmm.
it's so inspiring. It's so inspiring to be like, oh, wow, you did that. And like, look at you get it. And like, oh, hey, do you have a good attorney?
Yeah.
Those kinds of conversations that happen there. And it just kind of reminds you that you're not alone, that there's other
Mm-hmm.
people that are kind of going through similar successes and challenges. And, because especially for me as an entrepreneur, it can be very lonely sometimes, because
Sure.
there's not a lot of people
At that level.
who understand
Mhm.
the nuances and complexities of like social navigation, like leadership navigation.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have to like explain things, it's just like, oh yes, you understand. I could just say this,
Right.
Yeah.
You took the words out of my mouth, so
Yeah.
that's a good way to explain it.
Yeah. It's just finding your people.
Find your people, and then hopefully leaving encouraged, like you said.
Mhm.
Like, that's what I love, is like, I want people to feel like hearing other people's stories, like, oh, I'm not so alone in this,
Mhm.
and that I will have these connections either to lean on or just know more people in the city
Yeah,
in general.
absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's talk about, that's coming up March 25th.
Mm-hmm.
Let's give everyone a website right now in case they're like, oh, I need to know more information. How do I buy tickets? Where do I go? Is it full already? Like,
The website is thedinnerpartyproject.co, and the tickets are still available. So we are selling tickets right now, and it's selling very well, and we've got a lot of people interested. And it's an event that always sells out, which we're so thankful for and lucky for, because we have
Yeah.
so many amazing ladies. Some people come back every year. We invite new people as well. So it's 21 plus. So college students can go as long as they're like 21.
Got to be
And
drinking age, because Dana loves the cocktails.
we do love the cocktails. There are mocktails for people that don't drink as well. We have non-NA beverages for anybody that needs them.
Yeah.
But yeah, we would love for anybody and everybody to come. It is an investment for sure. A regular price ticket is, it is a lot, which I totally understand. And then we do have a nomination on our website as well that you can see under WLO. But if you know like a college student and or like women that financially would not be able to join us around the table, every year we do 10% of our tickets to women that maybe would not come because of the ticket price, but we want really everybody to come. So we have a really, really, really discounted rate that we do by, again, like a random number generator. So it's not like we're picking on like people. I mean,
It's like a lottery.
Yeah, it's like a lottery.
Okay.
So basically you put your name into a lottery, and then we pick out women by that, and then they get a chance to join us around the table. Nobody knows any different.
Yeah.
But it's just a way to.
You don't have like a red dot on your forehead.
No.
And I have to tell you,
Yeah.
like being a single mom, like it's made all of the difference to me to have been the recipient of some of those kinds of things. There's a lot of any kind of women's groups that I go to. There's usually a scholarship opportunity because you get it. Like you understand, and don't be audacious if you need that kind of support. Put your name in the hat, and
you can nominate yourself. You can nominate somebody else. You can also have many people nominate you too, which is a great way to really stack the deck, which is totally fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
Right on.
Absolutely.
And so tell me more about the trusted circles, because I've heard you talk about them before. And I can make up a story in my head what they are, but it's
Sure.
probably better to just get the information just from you.
So there is also a host for that one. You can either put your own group together and you're the host and you get 9 other people to sign up and commit to it. Or you can join one of ours, which is we provide the host and then it's also 9 random ladies. So you just put your name kind of like you sign up. So you're confirmed, of course. But it has been pretty amazing because it is the same group of women. And so you're digging deeper like each time that you gather like every 3 months. So you're making a commitment. You do pay for the dinners whether you come or not. But most people all come.
Why would you not?
Well, maybe your kid is sick or you're out of town for work.
I mean, things happen. But
things happen.
Yeah.
Right. So things happen. But it's a beautiful time because you're really investing in friendships. And so it's on the calendar.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the accountability part. And you're paying for it. So it feels like, okay, well, like I really want to make it. And so that really makes you show up.
Yeah.
And that you showing up, like we were talking about, is like sometimes you're like, oh, like I don't feel like going out tonight. I don't feel like this. But then it's like, okay, well, this is on the calendar. Like I'm accountable to these other women. And I've already paid for this dinner. You really are a little bit more motivated to show up. And then from there, you're really investing in yourself.
Yeah.
So it's like you're deepening these friendships, like month after month, like throughout the year and like staying in touch in between dinners. And
yeah. And younger me was like, I can do anything. And like older me is like, man, I really wish I had gotten some mentors early on. So I could have had people just kind of spotting me, in different ways. And so connecting, and not just with women, but also with anybody that's doing things out in the world. You kind of just need to have people like having your back, and like looking out for you, in ways that feel appropriate.
I kind of wanted something that was Women Lead Orlando, but throughout the year.
Yeah.
So you go to this one big event. It's a big high. You meet these people, these women. And then for a lot of years, there was like nothing in between.
Right.
So it was like, oh, you have like an incredible time. So this is a way to kind of like really be in touch with these people 4 times a year.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that was the purpose of it. So it's been a really beautiful thing. Anybody can do it. Like a co-ed group can put it together. I mean, a guys group. We haven't really put out yet for just only gentlemen, which I know would be, I think, well received. We haven't done it yet, but it's a really good way to invest in yourself, like I said, throughout the year.
If there are any gentlemen listening that would like a dinner for 10.
Yeah. Other 9 guys.
Yeah.
I think guys would want something like that.
I do too. I mean, there's if anybody needs support right now, I think men navigating these times of changing norms, I think that would really go a long way, and we would all be grateful if you guys could do that. I'll just say that.
Yeah.
All right, we're almost out of time, but I would love to hear like what are you? I mean, aside from connecting in person, like what are you passionate about right now? I know you are always about town. What are some of the new and exciting things that you've got your eyes on? Any good books? Like, any good recommendations? Because you have exquisite taste.
Oh, thank you. That's very generous. I love eating and drinking around town. My favorite new place right now is Coro Restaurant, which is in Audubon Park, and it is fabulous. It is beautiful the way they have built it out, and their dishes are beautiful, and the people that work there are so lovely. And so Coro is like definitely
I can concur. I went there a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month or two ago now. And it's like one of these places where like the chefs bring out the food, which is
different,
very different. But it also felt very family. Like it wasn't like it's really high quality food, but it didn't feel pretentious. It just
That's the
felt
hope.
like you were being loved with food by people who love food and are so excited that you're there.
Truly.
And it was really good food. The
Is-
desserts were
Yes, sadly I did not. I went with my brother who in the moment wasn't doing sugar. He's still not doing sugar. So we weren't doing desserts. I ate myself into an oblivion. I don't even know if I could have eaten a dessert at that point. I just kept on eating.
Yeah.
And it was so wonderful.
It was so good. It was
So
so
good.
good. And it's right in my backyard. I live in Audubon Park, so.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. What else?
Yeah.
What else do you have your, finger on?
I am actually going to Death in the Afternoon. I've never been there before, but
Is
I've
that
been
the absinthe bar?
Yes.
Okay.
It's on Mills.
Okay.
So I've been wanting that has been on my radar for a long time. So today I am going there and we'll report back.
Okay.
But I've heard mostly rave reviews about it. So I love that.
Yeah.
And then my third choice, I'll do three, but I think like the Strand is one of my it is a gem in the city. And they also just opened DBA, their bar that's right next door.
Okay, can I tell you?
It was a little loud, but
the first time I ever went into the Strand, that's my corner, okay? That's literally where I do everything. Is that intersection.
Okay.
And when the Strand opened, I think I was one of their first customers, and I literally was like, I'm going to add $10 to this bill because you guys aren't charging enough for how good this food is. Like, it is one of the best. I mean, it's my favorite place in town, hands down.
Mm-hmm.
And I did have the opportunity. I just took a girlfriend of mine there, and their little bar next door.
Yeah, DBA.
Oh my God.
Right.
It makes everything more delightful and better.
Uh-huh.
I just love it. And I believe that they're self-taught. I don't know. I probably should fact check this, but I think that they're both self-taught chefs. I don't know. Don't quote me on that, but
I think so.
Yeah. Okay.
Again,
that feels
fact
right.
check, but
yeah, fact check. But yeah. Like again, another one of those places that has atmosphere. You could tell
not pretentious.
Not pretentious.
They
genuinely care.
They genuinely care. The service is amazing. They're
yeah. And
just,
the owner,
the price points
they have always
correct.
been so nice to me. Every time I go in, I always get like the head nod. I get maybe because I was in the industry, I don't know, but just like super, like you can tell they're good people.
Yeah.
And I think that that's one of the things that moving forward, I'm like, I really just want to support businesses where there's good people involved.
Sure.
Doing good things, who care about their employees, who care about the quality of their food, and who just do right in the world.
I'm going to add one bonus, which is Kaya.
Okay. Kaya, yeah.
Gosh. If I could eat there every week, I would.
Yeah.
Yeah. Their drinks, spectacular. Their food, spectacular. Their service, incredible. So, yeah. I love books. So that's, that is my absolutely. I am currently reading The Grapes of Wrath by John Steinbeck.
Throwback.
Yeah. I thought I had read it before, but I think that I had not. East of Eden is like one of my top 5 books of all time.
Okay.
Oh, incredible. Just world building, incredible storyline. He's obviously a master. So my reading is really all over the map, and I love him. So I'm reading that right now, but it is very dark. It's brutal. It's a brutal book. It's kind of like Hemingway, also very.
Yeah, it's been a while.
I've read a lot of Hemingway.
I read way too much. I own a bookstore, but I always get confused between nonfiction and fiction.
Oh.
I think I read way too much nonfiction. Like I need more fantasy and sci-fi and romance novels.
Okay.
I think I read the entire Outlander series over the summer, which was fantastic, by the way.
All right.
Really.
My brother watches Outlander.
It is
so... He loves it.
Okay, fun fact.
I have never gotten into it, but...
So I was talking to John Rife, and I was like, hey, I know you're like, he's very proud of his Scottish heritage, and I was like, da-da-da, and I'm like, I've been learning so much about it because I've been watching Outlander. He goes, oh, he's like, I'm a Frasier, which is like the main character in the book, and he's like, and I was like, shut up. And then he started talking about, because the books are based on historical realities.
Okay.
And so she weaves all these characters, but a lot of them are based on real people that existed and real events that happened. And so he was talking about like I guess Jamie, the main character Jamie's. Anyway, I was like, shut up, genre, if you're not related to the Fraser clan from Outlander. That's
Small
crazy.
world.
I know. Now all of Orlando knows. And so he's probably going to get fangirled autograph requests. But
As he
sorry,
should.
John. I mean, he probably gets them already anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's nothing like a good book, right?
Yeah. I just finished this weekend. I read 7 Days in June,
Okay.
which was like a very, very easy read. So that was fun.
What's that? What genre is that?
It is life slash I mean, I guess in a sense romance novel. It's like a bit of a love story,
Okay.
a little steamy.
Who doesn't love a good steam?
Mhm.
I think there's a new romantics bookstore. I gotta go check that
It's
out.
called Authentic Book.
Authentic Book?
Yes, you should go check it out. It's
Okay.
so lovely.
Okay.
Yeah, they've got like a little bookshop there, and then they've got an event space there.
Okay.
So cute, and they also have like a book service, which I just found out about, I think last year.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Natisha, she does a great job.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
All right. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
We are running out of time. I could talk to you forever. Dana Roquemore from the Dinner Party Project,
Mhm.
and other cool stuff in town. She also plays pickleball.
On occasion, I need to play more.
I just like to razz her about it, honestly.
Yes.
She's like, I did it like once, okay?
No, I play. I play pretty frequently,
decent.
but just I
Okay.
need to play more.
Yay.
Yeah,
Well,
up my game.
Thank you for all that you
Yes.
do. If you're just tuning in, we're podcasting this on Substack, so you can go find the Front Porch Radio Substack. And I'm sure this won't be the last of Dana. She's always welcome on Front Porch Radio.
Thank you.
Absolutely. You guys stay tuned. More WPRK is coming up